This video and all other videos on this channel are for entertainment purposes only. The content of this video and all other videos on this channel are the opinions of the creator only and do not constitute legal, trading, investment, or financial advice of any kind. Investing carries a high level of risk and the majority of retail clients lose money. Do not invest any capital unless you understand the risks and you are prepared to lose it all. Alright, hello and welcome to Camel Finance. I'm your boy Camel and we're up early today. I'm going to take my dog to the beach. I've got a few questions from members. If you're a member and you ask me a question, you ask me to cover something, and I say yes, I genuinely mean it. It's just often I forget. So if I forget, please don't hesitate to remind me. If I don't want to cover something, I'll either tell you straight up no, or I'll kind of answer it in a comment. Today, I'm going to cover quickly this range break concept, which we use a lot in the level 3 member section. For everyone else, we've got a few kind of Bitcoin and gold related things, because I think we were probably very, very close to seeing a top for gold. And the implications for that is that Bitcoin is about to break to new all-time highs. So we'll talk about that. And then we are continuing to hunt these cycle lows. I have been admittedly a little bit gun shy, only because we got CPI tomorrow. And usually when we pump into CPI, it means a dump is coming. And the inverse is also true. Ultimately, I still expect CPI to come in lower. I will be live streaming the CPI print as we normally do. And I still expect to have some positions on. But like I said, I'm just a little bit gun shy. I'm not really trying to jump in front of any trains at the moment. So without further ado, okay, range breaks. The whole idea of a range break, the whole concept of this is that markets move in 4 stages, okay? Phase 1 or stage 1 is an accumulation. Stage 2 is the markup. Stage 3 is distribution and topping. And stage 4 is the markdown. Then, assuming that the stock is not going straight to 0 or is never going to break out of stage 1 again, which it can, many stocks mark down either go to 0 or they stay in stage 1 forever. But assuming you've got a stock that is going to continue to perform and is going to go through a whole nother cycle, then it forms this range in stage 1. And as you can see, eventually the thing breaks out and it gets marked up into stage 2 and the whole thing goes all over again. So that is the concept behind the range break. If you're a level 3 member, this is something we do quite a lot. One example of this is JD Sports, right? You can see it put in this kind of range. It had a fake out here in the middle, and then when it goes, it goes. And this is pretty typical in line with this, okay? Once it eventually breaks out of that range, it typically tends to get marked up very violently. This is how institutions like to mark up and make a bunch of money in the stock market. They build a position in here, then they mark the thing up, then they sell it, and everyone shows up late. All the retail show up late and buy the thing on the way down. So that's what this is. That's how it works conceptually. And the question I was getting was, where do you put the range, right? And the simple answer is you want to put the range in the place that it gets the most amount of touches. So if I pull up Tesla back here, we can see that I can get the most amount of touches somewhere in this neighborhood, okay? And then we get the range break, breakout, retest, resumption, and off it goes into a big markup campaign. Later in Tesla's life, you can see that it also underwent another kind of range here, okay? And then eventually it broke out and did kind of some lackluster stuff. So these patterns aren't 100% like anything in trading. It then underwent another range in here somewhere. Again, I'm just connecting it using the highest highs and the most amount of touches, and then we get a breakout. This time it came all the way back down to retest it before it went again. I use this same technique for MicroStrategy. So back here, when we were approaching the 4-year cycle low for Bitcoin in this kind of neighborhood, you can see we drew a range in here. And again, all I did was connect the highest high and then see if the market respected it. It touched it here. It kind of chopped it for a bit here. We got a fake breakout with a hard retest, followed by a resumption. And again, then after we get the true range break, after we escape, right, we then move into a huge markup campaign, stage 2. If I scroll back to kind of 2018 for MicroStrategy, okay, you can see a similar deal. I could probably just put a horizontal line in here. So we get this big range, multiple touches, and then eventually breakout, retest, resumption, and off it goes. Of course, needless to say, this would be stage 2, this would be stage 3 distribution, and this would be stage 4 markdown. Before we then get stage 1 again with the range, stage 2, which is what we're in now. And arguably, this is probably going to continue for a little while longer whilst Bitcoin breaks out to all-time highs, hence the new long position. And then somewhere up here, I would imagine we're going to get stage 3 distribution before stage 4 markdown. And then assuming MicroStrategy is not going to 0, okay, we should expect stage 1 again before ultimately stage 2 once that 4-year cycle low has been found for Bitcoin. So I hope that clears that up. The next thing was Kaspa. Now, my relationship with Kaspa is kind of strange, okay? My brother Nasco sent me a Tangent wallet very kindly and pinged me a bunch of Kaspa tokens. And the deal was, I'm not allowed to sell them for 7 years. So I'm a man of my word, I will not be selling them. So I hodl some Kaspa. But that does not change the fact that I am still not really into my altcoins. I still don't really care for them. I was saying that there's a potential range break a while ago here, okay? And I was saying, okay, from a trading perspective, you can see we've got a range at the top. We could have been potentially looking at seeing an all-time high break and a move into expansion. We did not get that. We got a fake out. And since then, this was the whole yen carry trade unwind thing, I think. And then we kind of have chopped around and are now firing even more warning signs. To me, this is not an ideal look. and I'm just being completely honest with you. We can use this same concept, right? We had this kind of range, breakout, retest, resumption, up into stage 2. You could argue this entire thing right here is stage 3 distribution before what would come next would be something like this, right? Mark down. Now, I'm not saying that's coming. And if Bitcoin breaks out to all-time highs like I expect it to, and if you're going to get some kind of alt season, then for sure this thing could, in theory, just like any alt, turn around and blast off. Maybe that's going to happen. But as it stands right now, the reason I haven't been covering it is because that was the first warning sign, okay? We were going to break out above all-time highs and it failed. We then had this big meltdown and rejection from the top. And since then, it looks like it wants lower to me. Now, again, anything and anything is on the table. It's a market. It can always turn around and blast off. But right now, it's hard for me to be excited about this. Even if it can make a repair above this, okay, this huge area in blue is still going to be massive overhead resistance, and I would suspect is quite hard to get through. So that's why I haven't been covering it. Like I said, I'm very grateful that Nasco was kind enough to send me a wallet and some Kaspa tokens. Like I also said, I will be holding them for a while, and we'll see. And the last thing was oil, right? I was saying that we found this daily cycle low. We were getting this big push. This was alarming a lot of people. This move here was saying, you know, the bottom's in. A lot of people are calling for oil to break out. And I was saying, I don't really see it. I think worst case scenario, we get a touch of support and a rejection. So far, that's what we've got. Now, if this thing is going to break out, then something is wrong with my expectations. Something is wrong with my analysis. But I would suggest to you that we're going to get a lower CPI print tomorrow. The economy is still slowing, even though a lot of the GDP numbers and stuff disagree with that. And the weekly cycle, daily cycle, and 4-year cycle is still down. So I do largely expect this yellow squiggle just to play from this kind of neighborhood. And I would not at all be surprised if by the end of this year or early next year, we are trading somewhere between $30 and $40 a barrel for oil. Needless to say, invalidation for this idea is a breakout of the downward slope in blue, then something else is at play. And so with all of that out the way, let's get into today's episode, okay? Because I've traded through countless weekly cycle tops for gold, and I will forever remember the current one as the one where everyone thought no one was paying attention and nobody seemed to notice, that everyone was saying no one is paying attention. Over the past few weeks, I've been pointing at countless tweets from people saying everything is deathly quiet about gold, or no one is noticing that gold's broken out, and we were laughing about it on the channel simply because my timeline was flooded with people suggesting that no one was paying attention right into that weekly cycle top. Here's a look at it from Bob Lucas, okay? He is expecting a lower high bounce here, okay, and a rollover into that weekly cycle low. And then here represents a massive opportunity to get long and look for the resumption of the bull market. I still think there's a possibility we see a new higher high and then a rollover, but time will tell. And of course, the reason I am so excited about this, the reason I think this is so significant for Bitcoiners and crypto people is in blue here, we've got the gold chart, okay? And in pink, we've got Bitcoin at the top, right? And as you can see, when gold tops and rolls over, Bitcoin tends to leave its consolidation and move into a bull market. When gold tops and rolls over, Bitcoin leaves its consolidation and moves into a bull market. We saw the same thing here. Gold tops, Bitcoin leaves its consolidation into expansion. And what have we got here? Gold due to be topping for that weekly cycle, telling me to expect Bitcoin to be getting ready to break out from its current consolidation. Notice the timing cycles here, very, very consistent to see a top come in for gold and to see that final leg up to the upside for Bitcoin. So if gold really has topped for the weekly cycle, even if there is still one higher high left, like I suspect there is, maybe we get something like this, day 9 high, and then down we go. Regardless, the top is essentially in now for the weekly cycle in terms of time. There's probably no more than about 8, 9, 10 days left before this cycle starts the aggressive declining portion for gold. And again, for me, that tells me to keep an open mind about seeing Bitcoin break out. So exciting times. At the same time as that, okay, the Bitcoin weekly super trend is still in a buy signal going on 90 weeks. So not bearish yet, okay? And tells me, again, to keep an open mind about seeing a breakout here. Bob is incredibly bullish and thinks that we're going to get a completely normal and to be expected cycle. Sometimes a script looks too perfect. It's hard to believe. Bitcoin has closed the second year of the 4-year cycle next month, entering the third and historically explosive year of the cycle. An 8-month base has been built here. Sentiment reset and rates are easing. According to Bob, the script is perfect. He thinks that we are going to get, by the look of it, a huge bull market up to a month 35 high, followed by about 12 months of decline into that 4-year cycle low. This would be the easiest thing to deal with. This would be the easiest setup to sell the top at. We'd only have to sit out for 12 months to get back in at the 4-year cycle low. Personally, I don't think we're going to get it. I still maintain
that we are going to get a earlier than expected top, followed by an extended bear market decline. But I'm hoping to be wrong about this. I'm really, really hoping that we get a month 35 high, just because it makes selling the top easy, to be completely honest. This is actually easy to deal with, versus any kind of top in here and selling is going to be incredibly hard, because the temptation is going to be to think that there's a double pump, and there might be. We will probably have to play some kind of low probability bounce on the way down that will probably resolve to the downside. So I really don't want to have to deal with this kind of earlier than expected top and extended bear market, but that is still my base case, that we are going to be topped no later than March, and I would suspect probably before March. As ever, I hope to be wrong. I hope that we get a month 35 high and a 12-month bear market, because that's super easy. But I just think too many eyes are on this. Too many people will be expecting it, and thus we're probably going to see this thing front run. As ever, we'll keep taking it one day at a time. For now, at least, let's try and get that breakout. But speaking of breakout, okay, MicroStrategy seems to know something. It usually leads. Okay, you can see back here, MicroStrategy put in a lower high, signaling that Bitcoin was about to top. Okay, so MicroStrategy knew the top was coming back here, formed a lower high, that was the tell, and then we got the breakdown. Similarly, it signaled when the low was going to be in for Bitcoin. Okay, it made a low, and then it made an equal low, whilst Bitcoin made lower lows, signaling once more that MicroStrategy was ready to enter its bull market, signaling once more that the lows were in for Bitcoin. At the hard right edge, we have got MicroStrategy leading, breaking out to new all-time highs, which of course begs the question, is Bitcoin therefore setting up for a breakout? Is Bitcoin going to follow MicroStrategy like it has here, 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 and now hopefully at the hard right edge? Seems to me like institutions probably know something. I would think this is not retail driven. I would think this is institutionally driven, and I would think that's because they know Bitcoin is getting ready to do this. And with all that said, okay, it looks like yesterday we are showing quite a lot of strength here. Note the subtle tell from the market. Okay, typically you'd expect two drives with an undercut of the first low. We haven't got that at the moment. We've got a slightly higher low, which is indicative of excessive buying pressure, and is a subtle tell from the market that if we're going to break out today, we are indeed in that third and final blow off top angle. However, as I said at the start of the episode today, I am a little bit gun shy here because we've got a CPI print, which makes me wonder if there is going to be some kind of quick trap to the downside and then a reversal. If we can get a true breakout and a new higher high, then the good news here is I haven't got to have a really wide stop, because this is all happening in a very small, less than 2% range. So that's why I'm in no rush here. That's why I got no FOMO. Either way, we're going to be able to get quite a tight stop in. But I do still want to be a little bit on guard here, not having FOMO just in case we do get that undercut. Again, Nasdaq still yet to print a higher high. It needs to print a higher high to confirm a new cycle low is in place. And until such time as it does, then we are still susceptible to a quick shakeout, undercut and reversal. And notice how the Dow Jones, okay, not showing that same level of strength speaks to wanting an undercut, in my humble opinion. So I think there's new longs coming, but I just want to give it maybe today, tomorrow, and then we'll probably be long by the end of the week. Unless, of course, the market screams higher and prints new highs today, then that will be the trigger for me to get in. Notice how gold has given us the two drives, okay? Gold has given us one here, and then undercut that low. So it should be time to make a swing any day now. If Bob is right, we're just going to do something like this, lower high and roll over and die into that weekly cycle low time frame. Like I said, I still think there's a good chance we get one squeeze up to a new higher high and then we roll over, which is why I'm happy to play a short-term bounce here, but we'll see. We'll see. Overall, no real changes. We've got the two drives, so now the next thing to look for is a swing and a trend line break. And Bitcoin, for now at least, still following the arbitrary yellow squiggle, still, for me at least, looking to get a breakout in the next couple of weeks, particularly if gold is going to top in the next 9 or 10 days like I've been talking about. So overall, no real changes to the plan. CPI will probably be full of chop, games and volatility as it always is tomorrow. As ever, my plan for CPI is to kind of let the dust settle a bit, let the true direction of the market reveal itself, and then I think we'll be able to add some positions. And other than that, I hope you have a fantastic rest of the week. I hope you'll join us for the live tomorrow. And after I've gotten this uploaded, I'm going to go and take my dog to the beach. Until next time, take care, all the best, cheers, bye.
Camel Finance, he's the man to see. Rocking the markets with his contrarian spree. Trades like a pro, no fear, no shame. Sticking to his guns in his money game. He's a badass, oh yes indeed. Camel Finance got the markets key. Taking us normies on a